Thank you. We'll call the August 15, 2022 meeting of the Greenville Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cooper,
Here.
Mr. Coleman.
Here.
And let it show for the record that Mr. Rexford is absent.
And that means that anything tonight to take an affirmative vote will require both Mr. Coleman and I to agree. So, the first thing on our agenda is our minutes of the last meeting of August 1, 2022. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff? Here, none. Is there a motion to approve?
Move that we approve those minutes.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. First on our agenda, David Strange. Thank you, sir. Take the podium. Good evening.
Good evening.
David, briefly tell us what you want to do.
The Southern Green homeowners subdivision, the board is requesting to encroach within a drainage and utility easement, which is located behind the property of Marvin Shea at 1784 Magnolia Drive, with a placement of a post with a lending library affixed to the top of it. In your notes, you have, you can see the location. We're requesting to be able to place that between 1 and 2 feet from the sidewalk, the side of the sidewalk that's farthest away from the street. That location was specifically chosen for a number of reasons. One, it's one of the few places in the subdivision where the homeowners association actually owns ground next to the sidewalk, making it easy for the residents to access that. Since we are a 55 and over community, a number of our residents aren't real mobile, and so walking on uneven ground would not be a good thing. Secondly, there are no driveways or mailboxes in the area. So that would allow people to park along the street to use that without being a problem. Thirdly, because no driveways are in the area, no one will be blocking or hindering the access of any residents that live on the street to their homes. And fourthly, it's located on a court, not one of the through streets that carry the bulk of the traffic through the subdivision. So from a traffic perspective, it's a rather ideal location as well. So that is our request. You have the engineering department's recommendation.
And David, you've seen that memo. With
I have.
4 proposed conditions. Do you have any problems with any of those recommended conditions?
No, I do not.
The motion to approve this or further questions, Sir Reverend Strange?
I will move that we approve the request subject to those conditions outlined in the report.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you.
David. Appreciate it. Have a good evening. Next on our agenda, Jonathan Oakley, 735 Disciples Way, Shepherd's Grove, Section 2. Mr. Oakley, are you here in person or online?
I'm on Zoom.
Okay. Tell us what you'd like to do.
And so it's what I would like to install is about a 12-foot panel, privacy panel, right adjacent to my property. Let me see if it moved my, yeah, and it's highlighted in yellow next to the blue line in the drawing there. I went out and measured, it's at least 7 feet away from the existing sewer line there. And it's just a straight panel of PVC fencing.
Mr. Oakley, have you received the memo regarding this request from our Community Development Services Department?
I got a memo today from John Thompson.
Yes, yes. You know, there's 4 recommended conditions on that memo.
Yes, and I can abide by all 4 of those.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Oakley?
I would move to approve the request request subject to those conditions.
Thank you. I'll second that motion. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Mr. Oakley. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Next, let's go to Justin Hucksteller at Vision Quest Eye Care. Pete, tell us what
So Vision Quest is proposing a new building along State Road 135, just south of Stones Crossing, catty corner to the old Marsh building. It's just a single-story building in the proposed, I guess there's some improvements still going on in that subdivision on the southwest side along what's going to be Swartz Crossing Boulevard and Drive. Existing drainage, or sorry, detention is to the southeast of the site. On site will be just 1 BMP with, 7 BMPs, so all be rain gardens, parking, and just the regular utility.
we have in front of us waiting today from Paul Pioni regarding this matter, some potential conditions.
Yes,
Have you had a chance to review that?
yes, I have.
Any concerns with any of those?
No.
Mark, anything else that we need to be aware of?
No, I would note the 3 conditions listed on Mr. Peony's memo. There are a couple items we're working through with Justin, and we're okay with the conditional approval provided those items are addressed.
Questions for Justin? Mark?
Approve the request subject to the 3 conditions outlined in the report.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks.
Mark, do you have the?
Next on the agenda is William Asher at Asher Conveying. Mr. Asher, are you with us today in person? Always love to see people in person. Good evening. Tell us what's going on.
We're proposing building a new building behind my existing building. Guarantees inspection and testing. Excavation, final plan.
This is out of Riversdale, is that correct?
Yes.
We have a memo in front of us, Mark, anything different than you see to the revised plat?
CDS had a couple minor comments on the plat, and Mr. Asher's engineer was making those changes, and we just haven't received that plat yet. If you guys approve it additional on us receiving it, then we bring it.
I was gonna take another.
Oh, okay.
I'll move that we approve the request subject to receipt of the revised plat and review and approval of that revised plat by the engineering and planning commission.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. Good luck with the project. Yes.
There you go. Need an easy button up there.
Next, Chad Oldham from Beazer Homes. First one is Villages at Grassy Creek, Section 4. Chad, are you online with us?
Yes, I am.
Good evening.
Good evening. So we are requesting, Beazer Homes is requesting the release of performance bonds for sidewalks for sections 4 and 6 of the Villages of Grassy Creek. All of the repairs have been made and the yards have been rehabbed and stabilized at this time. So this should clear us of the longevity projects in Greenwood at this time. But we are requesting a waiver of maintenance bond due to the longevity of the project.
I note that Section 4 and Section 6 requests are virtually the same except for the difference in the performance bond. Mark, anything, you don't have any problems with the release?
So it's been inspected and approved, and they made the necessary corrections.
don't have any problems, we'll go ahead and do both of these.
I'll make a motion that we approve the villages of Grassy Creek Section 4, acknowledging completion of the improvements and release of the maintenance. And Section 6. Same.
Second those, further discussion. Either one of them, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Good. Next, we're gonna talk about Twin Peaks Restaurant, mall parking lot, Polo Padilla. You with us?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Good evening. Tell us what we're doing here.
All right. Right now we are doing a site work to kind of clean up the entryway, relocate the dumpster, as well as kind of add in a patio area. With that, some of the site work has to be cleaned up. So right now we are working with the owner right now to kind of get the rest of the paperwork finalized for this. And also we're doing interior remodel as well.
So we're doing a sidewalk along County Line Road, is that correct?
Yeah, that's also, yes, I apologize. Yes, they're also doing a sidewalk easement as well.
Mark, anything, how they were doing here? Nope. Okay. Well, I'll move that we grant a request subject to the condition of receive the original performance guarantees and review and approval of that by the legal department and the engineering division.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, let's go to Derek Snyder, Crossroads Engineers. Meeting.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Shores Crossing Development LLC, and I'm joined by Chris Stoltz with CRG Residential. CRG Residential is acting as the construction management team on behalf of Shores Crossing Development and overseeing all the construction. We're here to request a extension of the previously approved road closure. I'm actually going to turn this over to Chris as he's aware of the construction schedule and day-to-day operations, acting as the construction manager.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are, as Derek said, we are requesting extension until end of day Tuesday, August 23rd for the closing of Shores Crossing.
It's a week from tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
What's the necessity precipitate? I mean, we're pretty adamant about trying to get this thing
Yes.
done, and
We ran into some weather, 4 days of weather. We are having trouble with CenturyLink, which is the reason for MOT3 to come out, because we can't get the pedestal removed in a timely manner to finish the whole thing as we planned. And so that would be engineering of that. And we just
what kind of hours are you guys working now?
about 7 to 5.
We got a week. We got a week of good weather coming.
Yes.
And maybe we ought to put some extra effort after 5.
Okay.
I personally like to see this done by the end of the weekend. You know, we got businesses out there that probably have events and things, so they can get things released.
I think the businesses are starting to scream out there.
We have a business owner here, so that is probably most affected. Do you guys want to speak about this?
We're not making you, we just. You don't need to, if you don't want to. I mean, I think, their request, I think, is to do it until Tuesday. Because I'm not excited about that.
I'm not either. As you know, we have the roundabout. It's going to start construction here at Stones Crossing and Honey Creek Road. We're currently scheduled to close that intersection on August 22nd.
Monday.
And correct, Monday, the day before you would be done here. It creates a bit of a dead zone for the folks between this construction at Stones Crossing and the roundabout. There are ways in and out through the cobblestone subdivision, but to try and maintain through traffic on a thoroughfare roadway as much as possible.
Think you could get it done by the end of the day on Friday? If we extend some hours?
I don't think so. Like we failed approval this morning because of weather. We undercut and stoned that today. We'll be stoning tomorrow to get it up to site grade. A lift of the HMA base, which is 6 inches, so we can only do 3 at a time. We'll get the other lift on, then we have intermediate base, curve, grading. I just don't know if we work 2-3 extra hours a day, if that cuts off.
Is the curb being placed in the auxiliary lanes, the ASL, D-cell, and the right turn lane? There's no curb being placed along Stone's Crossing, along the third lane.
That's correct. It's in the right turn. It goes down right turn lane.
Isn't this proposed MOT version number 3 to construct ASL, D-cell, and right turn lane into Schwartz Crossing Boulevard under traffic? Is that correct?
I put that together this morning before I was aware of the updated schedule. At the time, I thought that everything would be done except for the piece that was held up by the utility relocation. So the intent wasn't to show that, but it does kind of look like that, I guess.
So if you're through Stone tomorrow, or past your Stone Proof Road tomorrow, could you not place intermediate Wednesday or base on Wednesday and intermediate on Thursday on the through lanes and leave the auxiliary lanes behind barrels to be done under traffic next week with the through movement open?
So basically, reading that. Even that. So not taking the right turn lane, maybe this route. Basically. That's exactly what Mark was asking.
Yeah,
So
through
it's
the two
basically,
through
yeah,
lanes on Stone's Crossing towards the eastern end of your property.
Yeah, so basically, we need to work a straight line from that. And it's a straight line down through there on that turn lane.
Yes.
Striping, extended it through, basically pave everything, obviously not the piece where, right, that's. Not the pedestal.
And then they can run back and do this.
Come back and do that later. 12 foot turn.
And then that would get it open for Monday.
So that's part of the issue that,
Saturday, Sunday.
and I don't want to speak for Chris, but I think one of the issues that the contractors had brought up was the curb itself. So slipping that curb and then they got to let it cure for 2 or 3 days so they don't damage it. And that's where that kind of that time frame caused an issue. But if they were to pave that through lane and leave the turn lane and the curb for later, then that would cut that time frame down. But as to the contractor's actual schedule, I would have to let Chris chime in as they're working with them.
The contractors are open to making adjustments, but in order to get what we're supposed to have done in conclusion, so we can modify and get lanes open and leave the area, the entrances to Swartz Crossing, and do those under traffic to get it open.
And so you're saying you get that done by the end of the workday on Monday?
No, we would have that open for traffic on Monday, if we can go that route.
So you had that done by the end of the day on Friday, ready to go?
I'd say Saturday,
So you would work Saturday?
Yeah.
I know you're not gonna work Sunday. There's something else I've been tossing around with. That if we were to agree to that, that we would have some sort of penalty imposed if it's not done. I'm thinking there's calls for rain on Saturday. You better do it as quickly as you can. But I'd like to put out an amount that's not done by completion of work on Saturday, that it's a $500 a day penalty. Sam, do you have any problem with that? I'm not trying to be difficult, but I mean, this has been, you know, kind of a long thing we've been dealing with here. We need to get some, you know, make certain changes about it, and the people have.
Got 5 days of work. I'd be working 10 to 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And so would this be up to, obviously, they could do temporary striping? I assume the city would be.
Yeah, I would
that, 'cause we could just try to do surface, I think, all at once, just for a nice smooth.
correct. I like to see base and intermediate and maybe some transitions down to the existing pavement section, so it's not a drop off when it's over the traffic. And yet temporary striping and then be the, you know, the stickers or something.
And I think Mark's aware, so we kind of coordinated this, but the last piece there, that's at Galena and Stones Crossing, initially, we were gonna rip that out and rebuild it, the existing asphalt.
You know, they
13 inches thick.
yeah, where they cut away against it, it's probably bigger than 13 inches in portions on top of stone and geogrid. It's a healthy pavement section out there, so we are gonna allow them to mill and overlay that section. It'll allow access to Galena Drive much
So we
sooner
won't-
than previous.
Yeah, so we won't have to rip that up. So in reality, that closure is actually gonna be about the same time, because if you recall, we had a 2-phase closure where we were closing the road and then reopening it and rip out Galena. So the total timeframe will be about the same now. And we'll just do a mill and overlay on that patch right there where there's already 13+ inches of asphalt.
I move that we approve the request to extend the closure to end of day on Saturday. Any day beyond that, we would impose a $500 a day fine if the road's not open.
Second that. Are we clear on that?
Yes. Okay, can I ask one more question? When we open the through traffic on Saturday evening, will the auxiliary lane be through stone? I'm thinking there's gonna be an 18-inch drop off there, and I don't know if you could fit barrels up and down that shoulder and have through traffic open. So would you guys be able to have that up through stone, or do you think you could fit barrels along there without that drop off? You understand what I'm saying? Some sort of drop off protection.
Well, and
until
maybe
it's-
we could defer that to you, because we have a clear understanding of what Jeff and my intention is now is to keep it safe, and coordinate that with Mr. St. John. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Chris. Is there anyone from the audience wish to address us, either in person or online? Hearing none, Mr. Hudson will go to the audience plan status update.
All flow item.
Very good, thank you. Your status, please.
An engagement, first up is an engagement letter with the Williams Bear Wilkowski firm, and this is for a fire discipline matter.
I'll move to approve the, engagement and the contract letter as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next up is an agreement for legal services for the Bob Clutters firm, and this is for the same fire discipline matter.
I'll move that we approve the request.
Second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next up is engagement letters with Stevenson Advisors and Valbridge. And this is to do appraisals. If we are unable to reach an agreement with the owner and have to go forward with condemnation, or if we reach an agreement and the agreement is of a nature that we would need to have a friendly foreclosure.
I would move we approve that request and authorize the mayor to sign.
That's for both
That's
Stevenson
for-
and Baldwin.
Yeah.
Second, further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 And actually, on the previous two motions, I think we needed to authorize the mayor to sign those two.
Actually, Alpha, please authorize me to sign the
Engagement letters.
their engagement letter, yes.
Understood.
Last of my tax, CAST is in a utility access agreement, our tenant PNC wishes to have wireless service for Verizon and they need space and do that.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. That's it, Sam.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes, my first item is once again, Ray Crow Way. This is the middle portion, the portion constructed by the school corporation for Ray Crow Way Elementary School. We have inspected it. We have found that it's been satisfactorily constructed, and we are asking you to accept these improvements. It's the next step towards bringing this roadway into our inventory.
Move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yeah, I believe you'll see another Ray Crow Way at the next meeting for the final section dedication right away.
Last time.
The next item I have for you is authorizing city staff to prepare a single parcel sewer service agreement and authorize the mayor to sign on the board's behalf on the final agreement for a parcel owned by the Center Grove Community School Corporation at 2836 South Morgantown Road.
Second, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mark, appreciate it. Greg, anything for you from? Okay. You beat Mr. Rush.
I move that we approve the claims.
Second those. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all. We'll stand adjourned at 5:58 PM.